So, hi everyone. Hello once again, and thanks a lot for joining in today's stream. And today we have Anirban with us. So, we are going to discuss top about some concepts in Kotlin, and we are also going to discuss about and we are going to see how you can actually make your Android layout using Android Studio. So, stay tuned with us until the end, and I think we can start now. Anirban, are you ready?
Yes, I can start now.
Yeah. So Anirban, over to you, and you can share your screen.
First of all, hello everyone. I'm Anirban Debnath from third year C Department, Jalpaiguri Government Engineering College. Previously, we learned about uh, uh, integer variables and basic concepts of the Kotlin. Today, we will learn about the OOPS sections of the Kotlin, and that belongs to basically classes and objects. And let's create a new project on IntelliJ IDEA. Today we will use IntelliJ IDEA. Now creating a new project on IntelliJ IDEA. Nila, my screen is visible, na? Hello, hello, hello. Nila, am I audible?
Yes, yes. Anirban, your screen is visible. You can continue. Yes, Ankit, we are going to discuss everything in brief, so don't worry. You can ask your doubts in the comment section, and Anirban is here with us to actually resolve your doubts and tell more about the in-depth concepts. So yeah, Anirban, you can start now. Your screen is visible.
So first of all, why do we need object? It is a very big question. We need object because we don't want to write same kind of functions again and again. So we need object basically. So what is an object? Uh, we can say that object is like for example, you can take a laptop as a object, and there are some functionality and features of a laptop, and under that object laptop another laptop has a class, and under that class we have many objects like Apple laptop, Windows laptop, that are the objects of that class. First try to write objects in Kotlin. So we use class keyword to write object in write class in obviously Kotlin. So let's write a class first, then talk about that class. Previously we talked about the variables, how to declare variables in Kotlin, and inside a it's a class called class and object. Here we are creating an variable called let's say a of the type
Anirban,
integer.
I think you are sharing wrong screen.
Uh,
Can you confirm
share,
once because I can only see the
let me check.
screen.
Let
Yeah,
me check.
yeah, yeah.
Share entire screen window. Is it visible?
Yes, Anirban, your
Okay.
screen is visible.
So basically, when we are creating classes in Kotlin using keyword class, and inside the inside the classes there are various member functions and member function and uh, member function and functions and many other member variables, and here we are declaring a member variable. And if you want to write a member variable inside a class, we need to initialize it. So let's give it a value of 2 and write a member function inside a class. Let's write another member variable, obviously variable b of integer type of, let's say, 5. So now we are creating a creating a member function inside a member class. Okay, just like basic functions, member functions are basic difference between the normal functions and member function is that member functions are inside the classes and normal functions inside our file. That's the basic difference, nothing else. So let's write the function, then return a plus b, and the return type is obviously integer. So this is a basic function structure of Kotlin. Let's take an example of the class now. So basically, when we are talking about animal, there are many animals. But if I say a dog, they have some specific characters and specific characteristics that they can eat, they can bark, and they have some specific quality like breed, color, and age, etc., etc. If I talk about a cat, they have also there's like many other functionalities, and they have many other features like that. But if we write for functions and method for every animals, then it is a huge task for us. So we need a class to write to minimize our work and and we will we will take an object called it's a class called animal. Under that we can create many other classes. So under that under that we can create many other classes. Those classes are called child classes, and the class from which it is derived is called the parent class. So that's all. Now let's take a class called animal class. We're talking about this animal class, so let's take a class called dog. So we're taking a class called dog, and we know that dog has some features called breed. Obviously breed is type of string, and let's say our dog is Labrador, and some features like he can eat. So this is a dog class, but how do I call this dog class from our main function? So that is the matter. So let's take a main function. As you know that if we run our Kotlin program, it is the starting point of our Kotlin program is from the main function, like any other programming language. If we see here that we don't have any run option when we write only a class, doc class, but if we write a main function inside our program, then we will get the run option. Run option, obviously, right click on here, and we will get obviously a run option for this Kotlin file. So let's create an object of this dog class. So that's where my dog, let's take the name as my dog, and my dog. After this we can take the data type of this dog. Obviously this is the type of the class dog class, type of the class dog. And there is another thing that we cannot create a class. We have to say, write the first letter of a class, or say capitalize. So it is a basic naming convention, nothing like that you have to do that or not. It will be helpful for other programmers to read your code when you write your code like that, just like that. And we now right now we created an object of class dog. So here is a, what is the type is the variable, and the name of our variable, and the type of our variable, and here is the dog class we take. So this is a, my dog is the object of the dog class. So how do I call them call the member variables from from the dog class? So we have to write like that. Let's print the dog breed. So as you know, println is the function to print in Kotlin. So my dog dot breed, we can print the breed of this. We can get the breed of this dog by dot operator. Well, after dot operator after the object name, obviously, and we can access the function just like that using the object name, and after that the calling the function over the object name using dot operator. Let's run our program.
Also, I have added the online Kotlin playground link. That means you can also write the code directly into your web editor. You don't need Android Studio or any IDE, and you can directly like write the code in the web itself. So you don't need to like compile everything and other things. And yeah, you can try the same in the web editor also. I have already like dropped the link in the chat, and I have pinned the message.
Okay, so we get the get our, obviously we get our output here. You can see that one. Here we get our output here, and so here we are right now initializing the variable by one. But what about if anyone want to initialize them from the main function? Then we need obviously need constructors, as any other languages like C and C++. Here we have two constructor, primary constructor and secondary constructor. So let's talk about the primary constructor. While we are using primary constructor, we need to pass the value. So we need something, some variables to hold the value. So here inside, for this we use the first bracket, and here we can use the variables. These variables are called constructor variables. The let's say breed of the type string, and say color of the type string. Just like that, we need to mention the constructor variable, and we can use the previous code inside the animal class also. So what we need to do here, we just use the string, and after that we need another variable called color for our animal class. Obviously, as I previously told you, that if you if you write a variable inside a class, you need to initialize that. So when you are using constructor, you can initialize using init block, and initialize it like this dot breed. Now you can see that the red mark over here under the breed, under the line 18, you can is gone, and here we can see the red line under the line 11 is here also. So we can write for this also. Now the red line also gone here. This is one method for initializing variable using primary constructor. There is another shorter method to do that. We can use, just don't need that code for that. You can directly initialize it here without using any init block, and now you can use that also. This is the two types how we can use the primary constructor. If you have any question regarding primary constructor, you can ask in the comment section. There is another thing about primary constructor. Every Kotlin function, Kotlin class we have obviously one primary constructor. If we don't add any primary constructor, compiler will do that for us when we'll add primary constructor for us. So now, as we completed talking about primary constructor, let's talk about the secondary constructor. As like primary constructor, it will also help us to initialize other variables. So let's take for the secondary constructor, we use the keyword constructor. There is one more thing, that there are more than we can write more than one secondary constructor. And let's talk about the real data class. That's all about first primary and secondary constructor. We don't need anything say more than that. Now we can talk about the data class. So what is a data class and what is the difference between any class and data class? Let's comment down the previous things. And data class are used to store obviously data. There is no function inside the data class, and the keyword data is used to initialize the data class. Let's say write a data class called A, or let's say hotel. So for the data class, we don't need a class body. We can write our variables inside, write our the variables inside the constructor, obviously. Uh, you may ask that we have already class, we can do that, we can store variables inside a class, but why do we are using data class instead of using a simple class? The main reason of that, let's say went out. Let's say we take a dog class with a previous dog class with a constructor called breed with the name of breed, that whole string, and whole string, obviously constructor whole string. So let's create object of that class. Mm, dog of type AAA breed, and another dog2 of the dog2 object from the class dog of type BBB of the type A. Let's say. So if we compare dog1 and dog2, else we'll get the result. Let's say the result. The result. No. But we have same value, but we are getting the result no. Why do we getting the result no? Reason behind is that we are not evaluating here the value of these objects. Instead of, we are getting the address of the objects. Let's say what we get from that println log1 and println log2. So here you can see that we get different addresses of these objects from here. So we are getting the result no. But if we use data class, then we will able to compare the values of that object, not the address of that object. Let's do it with data class. I'll run it. Here we get yes and get same result, because if we are using data class, then we are comparing the values of that object. So it helps to store the data and compare it easily using data when we are using data class. So let's talk about inheritance. As I previously said that we are using class to hello hello Niloy, am I audible?
Yes, Anirban, you are audible.
Let's write a class, and from that we try to write a child class, and let's see how inheritance work in Kotlin. So writing a base class, obviously you can call it a parent class. You can write the properties of the base class here, like properties and member variables, obviously. Let's say not writing a number and variable student of the type string. Okay, so if we want to write the child class of this parent class, this is a parent class of base class or base class from which we can write the base class. So to write the base class, we need to write a keyword open to use it as a parent class. Now use a derived class which is derived from the base class. So let's write the class. There is a derived class with its properties, like you can say number of the type integer, and also student, you can say student of the type string, and it is derived from the parent class. Here we can write base class, and we can pass the variables of the base class here, like number and student, like that. And after that we can write just here you can write the member function of the base class, and here you can write the member functions of the derived class. This is the basic structure of the base class and the derived class in Kotlin. We'll try to implement this in a practical example. Let's see. Let's write an animal class with the basic methods, and say methods and basic variables. Just derived a child class from this parent class. The parent class animal and passing the values from the parent class, legs and color. On par and println bar. So here we take an animal class which is a parent class. After that we take a child class from which is derived from the parent class animal. So we have every method, the method and the every variables which is declared in the parent class inside the child class. Let's create a object of the child class. And now we can use this object to call the functions of the parent class. And also the functions of the same class. We can fetch the values of the variables which are declared in the parent class. Also, let's run this program. So as you see, we get the answers, and this is how we can create child class from the parent class, obviously. Now we know about the parent class, child class, and the primary constructor and secondary constructor. Let's know something about the overriding methods. So let's take another child class called dog. So what we are doing here, we are creating separate function par and bark for the cat and dog. But what we can do here, we can write a single function called sound and use it for dog and cat, both the both the child classes, obviously. So how we can do it? For doing it, we need a keyword called open, which what we want to overload. We can do it by using overload keyword, and inside the child classes we need keyword overload for the functions what we want to overload. sorry, we need override for the function what we want to override. That's all. Overriding the function sound. This is how we can override functions in the child class. And there are some visibility modifiers called, here we have some visibility modifiers called public, private, protected, and internal. So when we are writing Kotlin codes, everything is public. Then private, when we are using private modifier, this that variables only visible to the class in which it is declared. And also protected is for when we can use a high level the private function on the high level functions and functions, but we cannot use the protected modifier for the high level functions, obviously. And internal for the modular programming, uh, when we are using same database for the for multiple apps, then we use some for one module internal keyword variables are visible only to the module in which the variable is declared. That's all about object oriented part. And we have also interface, it's interfaces. So let's see the interface part, obviously.
Okay, so Anirban, I think we have one question by Indrajit. Indrajit is asking how to learn all keywords. Like there are several keywords, right, for the Kotlin. You have mentioned private, public, and override, this kind of stuff. So how to like memorize all these keywords?
So when you are practicing lots of code, it will be obviously known to you.
That means practice is the only way. Like you need
Practice
to
is the
write,
only
you need to write lots of code.
lots
This
of
is the
code.
only
So
way
only way
you can.
you can write. We can read Kotlin keywords from the Kotlin official documentation also. And there is also a website called Java Point. From there, we can read short note about the Kotlin keywords. And if you need detail about the Kotlin keyword, then you can read from the Kotlin documentation. Let's talk about the interfaces. As you see here, we use interface keyword to declare interface. This is the only keyword we need to declare interface. What is the main difference between class and interface is that we don't have any variables inside the interfaces, and we can declare our function. We can declare our function inside the interface, or we can only mention the function. Don't need to describe the function elaborately, obviously, inside the interfaces. Let's say that means that we don't need to write the a body of the function inside. While we are writing inside writing a function inside interface, then we don't need to say write the body of the function inside the interface. If you want to write, you can write also. It's not right here. And from the interface, we can also implement another difference of interface and class is we inherit from a class, from parent class to child class, but in case of the interfaces, we implement the interface into the child class. Another difference of the interface and the class, as parent class, is that we have only one parent class for a child class, but we can write more than one interface for that for a child class. Let's cut this code and write it here. And my interface, implementing interface for the class child class dog. After we here, the dog class is a child class of the animal class, which is a parent class obviously, and we are also implementing the my interface on the child class. So here we are given a, we see the red line under the class, under the dog class, because they wanted to say that the function inside, we need to implement the function inside the function inside the child class, which is previously declared inside the interface, inside our interface. Just declare implement hello. Okay, here you can see that we need to write the keyword override for when we are implementing function which is mentioned inside the interface obviously. Let's write some code inside our interface function. Now we can call that function which is overridden from the interface from our the doc class. Obviously we need to write the doc class also. And my dog is the object of the doc class. So what will it take here? Select black. Okay. And no. Now you can run this code and see that the function which we declared inside the interface, and we write the body of the function inside our child class, and here we use this function inside the main body of the class. Now it's all about the object-oriented programming part of Kotlin. Niloy,
Yeah, we have already completed the advanced Kotlin concepts like the class objects and hooks concepts. So I think we can proceed to our next agenda for today, which is of layout and some navigation, basic navigation. How to like redirect from one route to one route, another route. That means the what I can say. Yeah, I mean
okay,
the routing
intent, sir. Let me.
intent. Yeah, intent. The basic navigation. So we can continue.
Okay, let's share my stop sharing screen. Let's create an Android project first. Empty activity. It will take some time.
Okay, so Anirban is facing some problem, technical issues. So I think we need to like end for today. And in the next session, we are going to see some hands-on on Android Studio and yeah, some advanced concepts of Android. So that's it for today. Thank you.